Hello, welcome to Ms. Peepers' Reading Corner. I'm Katrina, aka Ms. Peepers. Let's talk about filmmaking. Today we're discussing Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. This book was number 6 in the top 10 most banned books last year in the United States, and it was tied with Looking for Alaska by John Green, which I discussed in another video. Greg S. Gaines is just starting his last year of high school, and he has cultivated his social presence in the school very carefully so that he has no enemies. But he also has no friends, because if you make friends with one group of people in high school, then you will ultimately find yourself at odds with another group of people, because that's how cliques work. Greg is above all of this. He wants to be a little bit visible, but mostly invisible. He wants to glide through, finish his high school years, move on with the rest of his life. And all of this is going fine until Greg's classmate Rachel learns that she has leukemia, and Greg's mother has decided that Greg needs to be friends with Rachel to ease her final days. This does not fit in with Greg's plan at all. He sort of knows Rachel. They tried to be friends once. They were almost dating, but then weren't. The whole thing is very awkward for Greg. Now, Earl is Greg's one exception to friendship. Because they don't see each other in school very much, they are in completely different classes. They spend time outside of school together, and they like to make movies. Now, Greg states from the beginning, these are not good movies. They are movies made by children. But they have been doing this for years, and they don't share their videos with anyone. In an attempt to comfort Rachel, Earl lets it slip that those films exist and lets her watch them. And it turns out that those movies actually bring Rachel a little bit of joy. And so here we are. Greg's life has changed entirely, and everything he has planned for has been destroyed. So why was this book banned? Well, it does have profanity. Greg and Earl are teenagers, and they curse sometimes. It's also claimed to be sexually explicit. Now, censors like to point to any mention of the mere fact that sex exists as sexually explicit. Now, none of the characters actually have sex during the course of this novel, but two teenage boys are going to make jokes about sex. That's a thing that happens. Sexually explicit? No. Sexual references? Crude humor? Yes. I'll give you that. Still, shouldn't be banned. So why should you read this profane and sexually explicit book? Well, I'm going to be honest that I had mixed feelings about this book. I liked certain aspects of it, and other aspects kind of turned me off of it. But I don't regret reading it, and I would be interested in reading something else by Jessie Andrews, because I think it's possible that it's just these characters and the way that they behave that I don't really love all the time. As mentioned, the teenage boys, they do have crude humor, they do make dark jokes. Some of those jokes I did not particularly like, but again, it's the characters, and that's not a reason to ban a book. It's simply a reason to say that you didn't like it and maybe you wouldn't read it again. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But then there are parts of this book that I found laugh out loud funny. It's a first-person narration from Greg's perspective, and he has a very snarky, sarcastic approach to life. He reminds me in many ways of myself as a teenager, because I felt very similarly about a lot of things. Just this cynicism that can come with the teenage years, especially if you are not particularly popular or not particularly happy. And so your observation of the world around you is tinged with this darkness. Greg also states from the very beginning of this book that he doesn't want to be writing it. For example, here's an excerpt. That last paragraph is so stupid that I couldn't even bring myself to delete it. By the way, for every mind-numbing thing that you have read in this book, there were like 4 other things that I wrote and then deleted. Most of them are about food or animals. I realize that I probably seem obsessed with food and animals. That's because they're the 2 strangest things in the entire world. Just sit in a room and think about them. Actually don't, because you might have a panic attack. So there are little asides like that throughout the whole thing. Because Greg likes to make movies, parts of this book are written in film script format. He uses that and also bulleted lists as a way to distance himself from the story, because His friend is dying. He also states at the outset, and I really like this, that this is not a book about finding like the deep meaning of life from someone else's illness or from being close to someone who dies. It's pretty clear from the very beginning that Rachel is terminally ill. She's not going to make it. So I don't consider that a spoiler because it's pretty clear. And so the author differentiates this book from other young adult novels where everybody learns something and the people who survive live happily ever after, and maybe even the person who is terminally ill, it turns out not to be. No, that is not this story, and he's very clear from the beginning that that is not this story. There is kind of this sarcastic approach to the idea of finding value in suffering. Suffering is not valuable by itself, and finding some deeper meaning or seeking some deeper meaning can be exploitative, particularly if it's related to someone else's illness and someone else's death. So tell me, have you read Me and Earl and the Dying Girl or anything else by Jesse Andrews? Let me know what you thought, and whatever you do, please keep reading, and I will see you in the next one.